Hi, hello and welcome. Welcome back to another Onkruid video. Welcome back to another unedited Soulstone Survivors video, where today we will be playing with the Fang of Vipernus. No critical damage, regular damage, cast frequency, and a downward movement speed modifier as well. Shows a corrosive spear dealing poison damage. Sounds quite straightforward enough if you ask me. We are definitely just gonna have to try it out. The Legionnaire, the Fang of Vipernus, there we go. In terms of runes, I don't really need focus fire, I don't really need singular focus. I think I'm going for the victory, of course, because we just still need to collect a bunch of materials. So I think just our regular old build that we almost always go is gonna be fine. Weapon looks a little bit like a Chernobyl radioactive penis, but other than that, I am looking forward to getting straight into it. We definitely still need a bunch of tin, right? Let's quickly check what we need for the next weapon. Yeah, as expected. That is like a whole bunch of tin. I am definitely gonna have to start playing off camera as well, because this is otherwise just gonna take way too long. We're gonna head into 200 videos instead of 100. Because we are actually really quite close to 100 already. So I guess it's even closer than I thought to going over 100. Purging Slam. Slam your shield to the enemies in front of you, dealing damage and causing all remaining poison and rot sticks in the area to deal that amount of % of damage in... Does not have a sound effect, my skill? It's a little sad. So my secondary attack deletes stacks of poison to make them deal a lot more damage. That's actually interesting. Let's go for a pure poison build this time around. We are just gonna go for poison and rot. This would actually be a fire skill to mix up together with like the plague rats and their rot stacking capacities, because as we saw in the last video, in the last couple of videos, they can actually go absolutely ham. They can provide like almost 2000 stacks on a singular enemy sometimes, so that would probably deal a hell of a lot of damage with our second ability right here with the Purging Slam. Purging Slam is also what happens when me and my girlfriend went out for a nice night of drinking, and she tells me like, oh man, I feel like I need to throw up, and then I just like, I pick her up from behind like this, and then I just, whoa, right over my shoulder, smack, or slam rather, all the puke out of her. Always works, never fails. Just a nice little RKO out of nowhere. Watch out, watch out, watch out. But she doesn't watch out because she knows what's coming, and she knows that it is necessary. It is necessary for her to feel okay again. Satire, by the way. I don't do that to my girlfriend. I'm sorry if I misled you. Flurry is nice. It will apply stacks of poison quickly, so I am counting that. And if you have a problem with that, you can fix that up with my... Ooh, the Frenzied Bunnies. The Frenzied Bunnies. No, we're still going for poison. We're going for a poison build. Keep your head in the game. So many interesting skills, so many interesting abilities to still explore, so many interesting stuff in terms of Soulstone Survivors to still explore. And yet, here we are again, just collecting tin. Just down in the old tin mines. Sugar Rush is something I am gonna take for a second to see how fast it actually makes you move. No, at the start, at level 1, it isn't such an insane change-up, but I guess if we upgrade it a bit more, it might get even more powerful. Attack speed for our spear, please, for our corrosive spear. Would love that. The first set of lords are not really coming in yet. We still have quite a lot of kills to go. For now, the build is kind of still taking its time to get online, you know. We are still just trying our best to get the build online. Do we have a regular old poison application yet? No, we do not. We do not, so that is definitely something we are gonna have to look out for. Move out of this. And we definitely would love to have some movement speed upgrades as well. Poison Bomb. Goodbye Sugar Rush. Now we're even more slower. This character is already moving slow, and with this new weapon, it's slowed us down even more. So that really is quite hard to actually get to, or to actually play with. A little bit of max health is never gonna hurt nobody. Only thing that it's gonna hurt is the enemies more, because they survive longer, so we can deal more damage to them. I think our build is kind of kind of there already, you know? Kind of at a point of like, alright, we apply a bunch of poison sticks and we then immediately get rid of it. These are 2 upgrades that I definitely want. I think I'm gonna go for movement speed for now. Venomous will definitely reappear in the future, right? But I do think that as soon as we actually get Venomous and our Flurry also starts to apply poison, then we're really in the money. We have gotten like all of, or almost all of the synergetic skills already, so at least we got that going for us. That's quite nice. Just move around these bosses, kite around them nice and slowly. Calm and collected, just take your time. Take your time to actually traverse the circle around them in a path that doesn't get us killed. Multicast for lasting. Yeah, sure. We're not gonna change up those abilities. I think maybe Bloodlust for another poison ability, but maybe that's a misplay. I will go for 1 slow upgrade to get hypothermia quicker. And thermal shock, or maybe we have thermal shock already actually. No, I don't think we have thermal shock already. Nope. Area of effect on the poison cloud, sure. The poison cloud is quite hard to notice. I don't necessarily know where it is at right now. Oh, here it is, in the wall. We don't want it to be in the wall, of course. We would rather have it be right on top of our enemies that we are trying to slay here, but you can't always decide where your attacks go, you know. Damage increase for the poison cloud as well. And now we definitely just still need a venomous upgrade. That is the core piece of our build that is still not here. The missing link. Frailty. We already had frailty apparently. I should really take the time to just look at that for 1 second before randomly wasting an upgrade. Not that it's completely wasted or anything, but increased potency. Our bloodlust has definitely gotten a lot of love already, which is nice because it's a great ability. Makes us attack and move a lot faster, so that are really 2 things that we need. Hypothermia or area modifier of the lasting skills. I think having an even larger area modifier there is more beneficial because the hypothermia will definitely reappear. We need to pick Venomous sooner or later. We all know about this. We have all heard about this. But it just is so nice to pick all those other upgrades. Because as you can see, our damage is still not amazing most of the time. But as soon as we then hit our Purging Slam, they get knocked down. And they get back up again. And you're never gonna bring me down. Don't know what that song is or by who, sadly. Could be a quiz question sometime. Should definitely look into it. Venomous. Alright. Does that have like the game-changing capabilities I thought it would have? Immediately I can see that our damage is way quicker. Because of course we stack up a lot more of our poison stacks right now. And Purging Slam can therefore deal a lot more damage as well. I did also pick up Spontaneous Combustion at the same time as picking up Venomous, but I think that the increase in damage can definitely be attributed to Venomous, and we don't need to take Spontaneous Combustion into account all that much. There we go. Some attack speed on the primary ability is still fine because we are still aiming to use that guy or that ability for the rest of the game. 2 lords remaining. Easy enough. Tuesday right now, gonna be a little bit of a shorter work week than usual because I went on a break yesterday. Have work today and then not tomorrow because Wednesday is always my free day. So today, not tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday. Supposed to have 5 clients today, which is absolutely nice. That is like the perfect amount in my books. But a bunch of them cancelled or postponed their appointments, so I only have 3 clients today, which is, it's still okay. It still warrants the move to the job, don't get me wrong. Especially because like they are kind of quite close together, so I don't have that much downtime, and if I have downtime I still have a lot of other stuff to do as well, so that's a-okay. And 2 of the clients that I see today I kind of enjoy seeing. The one client is not necessarily someone I dislike, but it's someone I have never seen before. She used to actually go to a colleague of mine, but that colleague is now quitting work at our workplace, so I am taking over the client from her, and I am very curious. I'm curious to see what is gonna happen, what we're gonna talk about. Of course, we're gonna have a little bit of an intake conversation, if you will, because I want to hear what is happening in her life from her mouth. I can hear I can read rather the intake conversation, the report of that my colleague made up or wrote up, constructed. But I definitely also want to just ask her like, hey, what brings you here today? What were you trying to achieve? Because maybe that has already changed a bit because of what she has done with my colleague already, or just because of personal experiences in life. And in general, I feel like sometimes having something explicitly stated, having them look for the exact words, the exact description of what they're trying to achieve, can already change up a lot of things. It can create new meanings. Kind of like how focusing instructs people to find the exact right words for what is happening in their body, because that can also provide you with new meanings, new felt senses, and therefore also a felt shift. And additionally, the main proponent of focusing, or the main proponent is not really the word I'm looking for, the main inventor of focusing, the person that thought it up, that explored the possibilities of a focusing approach, started from the point of view that the clients that were better in therapy, that got more out of it and did it in a better way as far as that's possible, were more like slowly figuring out exactly which words matched their physical feelings, their physical sensations. And he noticed like, all right, if those clients are better, then we should probably try to develop techniques that elicit those behaviors. That's exactly where the focusing technique, the focusing framework got thought up. I've been reading a lot about Daseins analysis as well lately. Daseins analysis is all about, it's created by Binswanger and Bos, and it's all about like your openness or closeness to the world. Its main focus is how you relate to the world surrounding you, the world you are in. So it's a very contextual approach to psychotherapy. It takes a lot of elements from psychoanalytic therapy, like for example working with dreams or free association, things like that, but it puts way less emphasis on the unconscious, on things that we can't see or that we can't notice, or things that are just theoretical constructs, you know, because that is not necessarily all that's related to your openness or closeness to the world, which is very much like a very concrete physical thing, because I mean it happens in interaction with the world around you. You feel me? But it is a very interesting topic to read about, because I agree with a bunch of things they are saying, of course. I also think that the psychoanalytic therapists like Freud, and in an extent like Nietzsche, but he is more of a philosopher, focus way too much on the unconscious, on things that are not there, on like primitive based or primitive, back to our basic instincts and stuff like that, our desires, which is not necessarily what I look for while giving therapy. It's not something that really comes up all that often in my therapeutic practice. I am way more interested in indeed like how they act in accordance to the world. Are they allowing new sensations to come in, for example? Are they allowing their own sensations to come in? Are they allowing their emotions to exist? That is also a sense of openness to the world, because you are a part of that world that you can be open or close to. Closeness can also, for example, be noticed in the sense that some clients don't accept everything their therapist says, and especially not when the therapist is saying positive things about them. They're all of a sudden like, no, that's not true. I have counter argument 1, 2, 3 and 4 right here to tell you why I am in fact a piece of shit and not the good person you are trying to make me out to be. And that signals a closeness to that kind of experience. Most of the time, because of experiences they had with their parents. And that's where the client-centered concept of structure-bound experience comes in as well. Where your experience has been structure-bound. It has been bound by structure. Because of the structures in your life, mostly imposed by your parents and other authoritative figures in your life, you, for example, feel like you can't experience, you are not allowed feelings of anger, because that was always wrong. You always got in trouble when you got angry as a child, you know, and that way you are out of touch with your emotion. Well, the Dasein analytic approach is pretty much saying the same thing. that closeness to positive feedback is possibly also because positive feedback was just not present in your world when you were a kid, and therefore you never learned how to be open towards it. I think it's a very, very valuable approach. A lot of interesting thoughts. I haven't necessarily learned too much about their specific techniques per se, except for maybe like analyzing dreams, but that is something I think is not that prevalent in psychotherapy anymore. Sure, if my client talks about their dreams, we are definitely gonna look into it and what they mean and what they mean for her and what you can learn from them, what her body and mind are trying to tell her, or him for that matter. But I'm rarely explicitly starting my session, for example, with like, all right, let me hear what kind of dreams you had lately, you know? I think it is a bit less prevalent, a bit less of importance to therapy than it used to be, and then in psychoanalytic therapy, for example. Another very interesting idea in the dasienanalytic approach is that dreams are to be worked with. They are interesting sources of meaning to work with in therapy, but they are regarded as equal sources of information compared to the things you say or do or feel when you are awake. Whereas in the psychoanalytic therapy, the dreams are seen as something completely different sometimes. Because like, oh, that's the unconscious you speaking. Those are feelings that you normally repress throughout the day. In dasienanalytic approaches, they are just like, oh, you're dreaming? That's cool, man. And that's it. They just work with those dreams. Don't go looking for all those specific complex theories. Just work with what the client brings into therapy. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.